Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Grid. I am Pete Collins with my good buddy, Larry Becker. We are not Scott nor Matt.
Not even close.
We're not even close, but we're here today, and we're going to have some fun talking about gear and stuff. And we know a lot of you photographers out there like gear and stuff, so this should be a good show for you.
Yeah.
Larry, I'm excited to have you on here. This is your first time on The Grid, isn't it?
My first time on The Grid. I've done, I think, every other show that's been here, and did some of it regularly. And then I did my own thing semi-regularly, and now I do an awful lot of reviews of camera gear.
I was going to say, you are becoming the face of B&H camera reviews, aren't you?
Yeah.
In some way. You do a lot of gear reviews for them.
Right.
So you're really getting into the gear and figuring out what's going on.
People actually call B&H Photo and ask to talk to me because they want to know.
Because they have no life.
Yeah, apparently. But I've told my mom time and again, I don't work there.
That's not my extension. Yeah. But so we started talking. We knew, okay, Scott's in Arizona doing a class today, and Matt is off skiing, shushing down the slopes with his family because it's spring break here. So he's having a good time. So we took over, and we're going to have some fun talking about
mostly because we don't take vacations.
Yeah, they don't let us out of the place. So we started talking about what could we do, and you've had the thing Cheap Shots for a long time, and people love the ideas that you have, and we actually are kindred spirits about that.
Well, it was really kind of cool. When you started working here, I was doing these Cheap Shots things, and I would just cobble together stuff, and people would look at me and go, how do you even think of that weirdness? And I remember you and I talking about it the first time you came in and you had something that I had never even conceived of. And I was like, how do you even think of that weirdness? It's just great stuff.
Well, and I think what it comes down to is we want to find the most efficient, effective, and hopefully cost-effective stuff for what we're going to do. Because a lot of times, let's face it, before I came here, I was having to put together a lot of my stuff because I didn't have a lot of money. And so this is going to be...
But now that you're here, you
now
have a lot
I really
of money.
don't have a lot of money, so I have to do this a lot. But we wanted to make this show for most of you folks that are out there that are trying to figure out this photography stuff and maybe help you along the way not to spend as many hours in the garage as we have and know when it's good to make it yourself and when it's just going to save you time, which is worth money, to go ahead and buy something.
Right, but it's not going to be all about the homemade gear stuff. We're not doing just that. It's mostly, if you and I had this pre-meeting and I understood it right, we're just going to talk about cool stuff that helps us take pictures.
Stuff that we don't want to live without.
Right.
I mean, we could if we had to, but these things make our lives and hopefully our photography better.
Sure.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and talk about a few things.
Right.
Before we get started, we need to say, hey, don't forget about Photoshop World coming up on Early Bird Special. If you want to get $100 off, you need to make sure to sign up before March 18th. So you got about a week, just a little less than a week to save $100. It's definitely worth it. If you haven't been, come check it out. We're excited about it being in Atlanta this time.
Yeah, first time ever in Atlanta. We've done one-day seminars in Atlanta, but it's going to be the first time ever there. And what an experience. Every single Photoshop World is just an amazing experience. I have been to every single Photoshop World, and it has been a blast. I tell people my favorite time of year is right at the Christmas holidays, and both Photoshop Worlds. I just have a blast. You get to meet all the industry leaders. You get to take classes from the best of the best, and it's just a great experience.
Well, and a lot of people go, well, I'm not so much into Photoshop. Well, the good news is Photoshop World can kind of be a little misnomer because we've got everything from Photoshop to photography there, and it really will scratch your itch in all these different areas. It's our favorite thing throughout the year.
Sure.
So make sure you check it out. Early Bird Special before March 18th. Okay, and hey, while we're at it, at the end of the show, we're going to give away, because that's why a lot of you show up, is to see what kind of prizes we give away. We're going to give away the Rogue Flashbender Extra Large. And we're going to talk about that a little more later, but I wanted to tease you with that right now. So just hang on to the end of the show, and we're going to give one of those away.
Very cool. And I think I've got something extra to add to the kit.
Larry's got a little extra to add to the kit.
All right, what you got, Pete? Start with one of your...
No, I've been talking. All
right.
Because I can't think that fast. Give us something to start us off.
Okay, well, I'll start off with one of my favorite things, and in fact, one of the very first ever Cheap Shots, it kind of came out of this. So this is something, Scott's talked about these. I've had this one forever. I kind of banged up the corner of it. This is a Hoodman hood loop. And so the way that this is used is anytime you can't see what's going on the LCD, anytime you're in the sunshine or something like that, you just put it over there and you can see what's going on in the LCD. These are invaluable in the field, but when they first came out, they were on a neck lanyard. And it wasn't even a detachable. They came out with that next, but it wasn't even a detachable neck lanyard. So these really cool little sunshades that you could see, you'd have them around your neck, and then somebody would want to borrow it, and then they'd kind of, choke you doing that. And then the other possibility is you give it to them and you never get it back.
Right.
But they are great. I use it. Scott uses it. I know you use yours. And what my very first Cheap Shots idea was this thing. Now this is, I got it in a local Ace hardware store. It's a keyback. And it's one of those custodian key ring things. And you don't get the chain kind, because they make the kind that are a chain in here, but this one is Kevlar cord. And so I hook this on my belt or my waist clip, and now I can take it up to the camera, I can loan it to a friend, and just let go of it, and it goes back to my belt.
What's funny is your first Cheap Shot, I bought this thing. I have this very same thing that before I ever came to work here, I was like, that's a great idea, because I love the Hoodman. It's in daylight, those LCDs,
Sure.
you can't see it. But I was, the same type of thing. Let's face it, as photographers, a lot of times we look a little bit goobery with all that gear.
Sure.
So this was just one more step to the goobery to have it hanging around your neck. At least you can get it over on your belt.
Right.
And it really is a great idea.
Well, and the other thing with the lanyard, even when they have the detachable lanyard, the problem is you've got your camera hanging on a camera strap around your neck, and it was fighting with this thing on my chest all the time. So I really like that it stays on my hip. And what was so cool, I was at a photography trade show, and it wasn't Photoshop World. So I'm just walking down the main aisle of this photography trade show. And I was talking with a buddy of mine as we were going from one booth to the next. And I see this lady like 20 feet away, and she makes eye contact with me. I've never seen her before in my life. And she starts running at me at speed.
Mom.
That was weird. And she stopped right in front of me, and she had one of these on her hip, but I didn't know it. And she goes, "You're Larry Becker." It just freaked me out.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was kind of funny, but that was the first one. Now, I've got a variation on this.
Well, I was going to say, tie it in with the next one. Let's
Yeah,
see what's going on.
because what I've got. Okay, so first of all, I need to show you these. These are little hair ties. They're called scunchies. People call them scrunchies, but this is a different kind. This is. Let me see if I can get that to show up right. It's the one that's not covered with cloth. So these sometimes they're called jelly bands or gel bands or something like that. And they're just simple little all round rubber bands. And if you take one and double it up like this, and then you take one more and then tie it on each side, you end up with something that looks kind of like this. All right, so,
Wow.
yeah, okay. But the reason that's cool is because now you can do this.
You came up with it, Larry.
No. Now you can do that. And now you can actually strap it onto the camera.
Do you need me to help?
So, yeah, you want to hold that? So what you do is just kind of put it around like that and strap it onto the camera. And it works different on different cameras, and it's not gripping real good on this one. I don't usually use it on this one, but I use it on like point and shoot cameras and stuff like that, because they may not even have an optical viewfinder or an electronic viewfinder, and you want to go outside in the sunshine and use your camera, well, just strap it on. Now, obviously, they have a better solution than this one that you can pay for, but nothing that's cheaper than $1's worth of rubber bands. It's just kind of a cool way to
You're
go.
the Cheap Shot master. Hey, here's
one of
another one. Just something that it may have been Joe McNally that got me hooked on these. But if you shoot flash photography and you want to go out and carry something kind of light that'll throw in your bag, and you always have a little extra something to diffuse the flash, I love these. These are the LumaQuest Softbox 3, and if you look on my screen, there it is right there, made by LumaQuest, and they run, not too bad. But the thing is, I'll take two of these. There's always be in my bag because they lay flat. And now wherever I go, if I need to take these and just pop these on a flash, it makes such a difference from that bright, harsh flash to soften it up. And it's kind of gives you a little poppy, crispy light, but it's great for diffusing. And I literally carry these with me all the time because
Well, and it makes your light source bigger.
Right.
And that is the key to softening the light that's hitting the subject, is making your light source bigger. So instead of it being that little size, it's that bigger size. I agree, those are great.
And to tie that in is any flashes I have, you'll notice that I always add the Velcro around it. I love Velcro. We're hook and loop guys here.
Yeah.
Because what happens is I put a strip of Velcro around here, and now these have the hook part to it, and it just attaches right like that. But then that's not all. I put hook and loops on the sides, and then I'll attach things like my Elinchrom triggers to it, and I just modify all my stuff because in the field you want to have as little trouble as possible.
Sure.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, how much stuff am I going to need to attach, and how can I do it so it's not going to come apart? That's kind of a quick taste of what we're going to do. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get our stuff even more together, and then we're going to come right back and talk about some more gear. Be right back.
When I'm photographing kids, I have some idea of what I want to get. I'm effectively trying to capture the whole of who they are as best I can in the short amount of time I have. I want to teach you to see more than where a child fits in a frame, but what's going on underneath in terms of what's going on in their head, what's going on with their emotions, what's coming next. Hi, I'm Tamara Lackey, and I'd like to invite you to check out my course.
And we're back, and through the magic of time travel, I put my little LumaQuest on the front so you can see that is what you get, a lot broader light source than the little thing, and it just attaches very easily right there.
The key is it's so lightweight. Yeah, it gets flat, but it's so lightweight too, so it doesn't really cause you any big issues.
Well, what I love to do is pop this on, and I'm going to show you in a minute, on a adjustable stick that I can sit there and I can pop this around. I've got a lot of control, and it doesn't get so bulky that it gets in the way of a lot of things. So it's a great portable diffusing setup that I love. Speaking of, I've got this little Elinchrom trigger that I've used a lot, especially with my old Sunpack 383s. I love going manual. I don't shoot a lot of TTL, so these little bricks just shoot out that big beam of light, but I do have to have a trigger for them. And I love these Elinchrom triggers, but the problem is that the on-off button was right here on top. And let's see if Juan, the jib master, can get in here. That's going to be tough. Yeah, you see right there, that button kept getting hit. I'd put it in my bag and it'd get hit and it'd turn on my triggers. And so when I get to the field, do whatever I'm doing, this thing would run out of juice too early. Well, what I did is I went to the hardware store and bought a bunch of tiny little O-rings, and you'll see I have super glued O-rings around that button right there. So now they cannot be depressed unless I stick my finger in there and depress it. And that saves me so much trouble because there's nothing worse than getting to a shoot and the triggers that you need to work are already knocked out. So it's just little things like that that sometimes we go, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's way more than I remember you stopping by my office and showing me that. That is the coolest thing. Well, and so if you can just picture, Pete and I have an office like one office away from one another, and he'll stop by my office and show me stuff like this, and it's like Tim Allen just kind of going, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Couple of comments up there. It says, Ryan Ruprecht, I'm not going to make Ruprecht, never mind, that's a whole other thing. Oklahoma, I'm sorry. I've had my caffeine for the day. I see a lot of guys just using a normal loop to offset the cost instead of the Hoodman loop. And Larry, you made a great suggestion about that.
One of the problems with a regular loop, they're round and it's a little magnifier thing, and it looks awfully close to this. And they are less expensive, but the problem is they don't fit the shape of the LCD. They aren't intended, they aren't rubber on the face, they're hard plastic, so you could potentially scratch up your LCD unless you've got some kind of protection on the face of that. And these things are durable, they're intended for photography, and they're made specifically for the size of screen that you have. So if you have the 3-inch LCD, if you have the 2.5-inch LCD, you buy the right one for your LCD. They also make one now that's collapsible and that has the 1/4x20 screw thread on it, so you could potentially attach the retractable thing to that. You could put it on some kind of mount So, and they do have a really nice mount as well. So.
Well, and we're going to talk about this some more. Sometimes you can end up going too cheap. You think, oh, I've got a cheap alternative or whatever, and it ends up costing you in the end. Either you buy 2 or 3 of those cheap processes till you buy the real one, or it looks cheesy and you wouldn't take it on a professional thing.
And I see that happen a lot. I see people, saying, oh, why don't you use this, or why don't you use that, or that's a really cool thing to try. And the one that comes to mind is the Beauty Dish out of a turkey roasting pan. Are you kidding me? Are you gonna? I mean, it's fun to experiment with light and ways to reflect light in the studio. And yeah, I might do something like that in my home studio. But if I'm being paid, if I've got a paid client, a paid model, and we're on set and I whip out the old turkey pan, that's ridiculous. I mean, you just lose all credibility. So you have to be cautious about this stuff. For instance, I even made a knockoff of one of the light modifiers, the LumaQuest light modifiers. It was okay. It was a fun experiment to do. It was kind of cool to post on my blog. But I really don't see me using it a lot, especially since that goes so flat. It would only save you, because of the time, it would only save you maybe $35, maybe.
Right.
And then you've got the time and the materials and stuff. So
Well, and we talked about this earlier. There's a certain personality that likes to get there and fiddle with stuff and figure it out. And we love to do that because it teaches us more about the gear. Let's say we're on a shoot and we forgot a bag or whatever. I could make a softbox if I needed to in a pinch, because I've learned by playing with it. But that's kind of me having fun with it. It's almost a secondary hobby of inventing. But for a lot of people, they may not have the gear or the stuff to play with it. So the stuff you have to buy and the time you have to put in to actually develop and make the DIY stuff will actually cost you in the end, because your time is your money as well.
Sure.
And here's another thing. Speaking of beauty dishes, I made this one that's actually fairly heavy duty. It looks pretty good.
It does.
And there are a couple things I'd change on. You're always wanting to change it. This was made out of a Lumiere lamp, whatever, from Home Depot or whatever, and it's solid. It's got a convex mirror on the inside and all this stuff, and it looks pretty good. And I can use this kind of just like a regular beauty dish, and it probably cost me about, when I'm done with the materials, about $35. The problem is it's heavier than crap, if I can say that. And although it's cool that I made it, I would not take this on a professional shoot, because, I mean, listen to it. It looks like I grabbed this and put it together. So I enjoyed the process of making it, and I learned a lot of stuff about light diffusion and all this stuff. And I got to play, and I use these things as an excuse to buy new tools from my wife. I got to get that Dremel because I got to make this. And that's half the reason why I do it. But this is not going to be a professional thing. It's a great thing to learn and to play with. And I'll use it on my own personal things, but I'd never use that professionally. So that's kind of where you got to balance it out. For $45, $50, I can get a mid-range beauty dish from somewhere that's going to look like I could take it out on a professional shoot.
Right, and it's got at least a 90-day warranty.
Yes. Okay, so here we have a couple things. J. Michael Hill said he had a shoot on Sunday, and he used his Hoodman loop to check the screen several times. The client got intrigued and wanted to see what he was using, and he loved it. Yeah, once people see it and they see the difference, it's huge.
Oh, it's huge.
Don't they have a diopter setting on it too for your eyes?
Sure.
Yeah, that's another thing that a regular loop may not have. This way, my eyes are bad, so I need to be able to adjust it to be able to see. Another comment up there is Terry White had a good blog post on cheap speed lights by Yongnuo. We love Yongnuo.
Yeah.
And see, here we all try to balance out Canon, Nikon, all this stuff. Listen, there's some amazing technological stuff out there that you can find on the cheap. Like I said, I've been using my Sunpack 383s I got eBay for like $35. 6 years ago or something. There's stuff out there. The question is, do you know how to use it? And Yongnuo is a great place. We definitely love Yongnuo, but I tell you what, here's the flip side of this. I have really loved the new Canon 680s. I'm so bad with names and numbers. The new infrared, they've got the wireless triggers in them. Now here's the caveat. I would buy those if I was a wedding photographer.
The ones with the radio triggers?
The radio triggers in them.
Yeah.
I would buy them if I was certain niche, like a wedding photographer doing that all the time, because it's less gear. You have less stuff that you have to carry around, less things that go wrong. The problem with these setups is always, once I hook this up, it's always the wire connection goes wrong. It's all these little things right here. I've got to bring more chargers, more batteries, more stuff like that. I love the idea of having it all in one unit. However, they are dang expensive. They're great. They're probably the best flashes out there. So you need to figure out where your priority is.
Sure.
If I was going to be shooting with flashes all the time, I would probably go with those if I'm using a Canon platform. But that's only if my job, my profession allowed it. And really, it was a sound advice for that. For a lot of you like me, when you're starting out, you're figuring things out and you're cobbling things together. There's a lot of options out there. And this is kind of give you that idea. So sometimes I'll go on a shoot and I don't want to have the TTL and all that stuff. And I'm used to all this, and I'll refer to my cheap stuff because I know how to use it. But then I love getting in there and I'm playing more and more with the Canon stuff.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal because it's one package. I just go, really? I just put this on and I'm ready to go? That's cool. So
Sure. It
it's
is a
balancing
balance.
act.
It is a balance, and one of the things that is nice is if you do buy one of the less expensive lights and you put it in optical slave mode, and I said one of the less expensive lights, how about 6 of the less expensive lights? I mean,
Yeah.
right, you're
Right.
putting them all around the room for the price of one of the high-end from the name brand manufacturers. So, yeah, you kind of have to look at that
Well, that's
too.
what I was saying. It had to, if you've got a professional thing where that's what you need.
Sure.
That's an awesome way to go. They're phenomenal lights, but a lot of us find ourselves in a different category. Yongnuo transceivers are great too. Speaking of, let's face it. Right now, we are in a glut of awesome flashes out there. Strobus, we got to thank David Hobby and all these guys that have really led the forefront in flash photography. There's some amazing stuff out there. Check review places. Check with. We do stuff, but there's places like DP Review does great reviews
Sure.
on products. There's a lot of information out there, and you can pick up some great stuff. Hey, give us something new.
Okay, next up, I want to show you lens pens. Now, lens pens have been around for a long time, but they've started making them with this white body. And most of the time you look at a lens pen, it's black or maybe camo, dark green and stuff like that. And I saw these at a trade show in January, and I was like, why do you guys have white lens pens now instead of the traditional black ones? And they said, well, we've changed the fiber or the formula of the carbon, not fiber, but carbon. Okay, so this is the tip of a lens pen, and it's a little bit concave, and it has material on the tip of it that's carbon material, and it'll absorb oils and things like that. So you can polish the face
I just
of
say
your
it
lens.
does magic.
It does magic, but it'll take off like the fingerprints and the smudges and things like that on a lens, and this one is shaped for your lens. And on the other end, of course, it's got this little duster thing, so you can kind of dust off your lens as well. Well, Lens Pen changed the formula of carbon, and they've got it to where it's, they claim, clear. Now, I don't know, I didn't get out the magnifying glass, but the point is, it's got a different formula of carbon, so it doesn't leave the black spots, the little dust specks that the other one might occasionally leave.
Nanoparticles.
No, I don't think you can use that term. But it doesn't leave anything behind that's as visible as the previous ones did. Even though they were really good at cleaning things, they would still leave stuff behind. It's also got a little recharger in the cap, so every time you screw it closed again, it actually recharges or replenishes that tip. Now, that's one change. They're also doing something else. They've got them in this shape and different widths, different sizes, but that is the shape for the lens surface. This is actually intended for your LCD. So it's a flat surface that you can wipe on your LCD and clean up maybe your smartphone or something like that. They make these in a couple of different sizes. And
pretty cool.
Every time you put it back together, it recharges. So there's like a surface of the material in there. And it just kind of, this came out in January.
That's cool.
So yeah, very cool stuff. So lens pen stuff, and no, you cannot make these at home in your garage.
No, but I can steal them from you.
Yeah, well,
And that's the important thing. Hey, here's another quick tip for you. We tend to go cheap on stuff, especially camera equipment adds up. Here's one place you don't want to skimp. Get a second charger. Most cameras these days, you know, you want a battery grip or something like that. If you're going to be serious about photography, you probably want 2 batteries.
Yep.
How many times have you had to get up in the middle of the night and switch batteries if you're out on location or whatever to charge a second battery? that loss of sleep alone is worth buying a second charger. And
Well, and obviously multiple batteries to go along with it.
Or you could just switch it out halfway through, switch it over here, and go back and forth. No, if you've got 2 batteries, you need to have 2 chargers.
Sure.
It will save you that headache, because if you're like me, especially if you're like me, you forget about doing it at night. Forget that. You sleep great. You wake up in the morning, and you've got to charge 2 of them quick. So you need that second charger to really save your bacon.
Yeah, one of the very first weddings I ever shot, I remember running over to the wall and having stuff plugged in, charging, because I didn't even.
They had electricity back then?
Pretty terrible.
All right, hey, here's a DIY special for you that I really like, and I stole this from I haven't had any original ideas. I steal them from everybody
See, now
else.
I thought this was your idea.
No, please, I'm not that smart.
I had never seen it before.
Yes,
you did
it's
it.
my idea. I came up with it. But this is you've got your normal
It's a tripod light stand.
light stand. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, forgot my words. But what I've done is I simply drilled out one of the leg bolts right there, the rivets, and then I've added some extra holes in here, and now I've got a wing nut that I can unscrew, and I can adjust this bar to go down here, 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 here. And you're thinking, why would you ever do that? Sometimes you need to put a light stand on a set of steps or on an uneven ground. Right now, this is set up. It wants to be on flat
Everything's
ground.
even, yeah.
Yeah, because if you put it on a thing like this, all of a sudden it's going to want to tip over this way. Just by doing that one little thing, now I can adjust this leg. So let's say there's steps. I can put this leg like this, and it's going to stay perfectly straight up and down. And it's just simply taking a drill bit, drilling some holes, and get you a nice little wing nut right there. And that's going to make your life so much better. I always keep this in the car.
Sure.
Because you never know when you're going to need a light stand on an uneven surface. And that was a quick fix right there. Speaking of quick fixes, one of my light stands that did fall over, that didn't make it, everybody's eventually going to have a light stand that's going to crash and burn on them. Well, don't throw it all out. Look at this. I took the middle section of that light stand, and now I've got the perfect monopod for being able to take out and put my flash on it like I showed you before. And now I've got this wonderful monopod stick.
No,
that
it's
I
a
have.
boom. It's a
Yeah,
boom.
it's my boom. I'm going to point it right at the... See right there, and that's how I was able to rescue the death of my light stand, by just remembering that I can take parts of it and still use it for something. So that's another little quick tip for you when you do eventually kill your...
And you will.
You will. All right, what you got?
Next up on my little list here, I have the tripod that I carry around most, and I just want to let everybody know about it. Again, one of those things you cannot build, you have to buy. And these have been really popular. The Benro family of tripods is actually the parent company for this. But this is MePhoto, MePhoto tripod. This one is actually the middle size. I think it's called the Road Trip. I don't think it's called the Traveler. I think the Traveler is the smallest one. Road Trip, and then Globetrotter, right? Are there 3 lines? And so this one's the Road Trip, the medium size. It's a great set of legs. And it comes with a little ball head. Now, I actually swapped the ball head with one that I absolutely love, that is my favorite ball head in the world.
I'm guessing from Really Right Stuff.
How did you guess? From Really Right Stuff. This one is an awesome ball head. And there is no way to go cheap and get an awesome ball head. You can get ball heads, but this thing is absolutely the best. This one's the 40, I think BH40 is the model number. It's a small-ish ball head. And one of the nice things about the Really Right Stuff products and the MePhoto ball heads is that they're using the Arca Swiss standard. So what that means is they all use the same kind of quick release plate. So I have a bunch of these on the bottom of each of my cameras.
Well, and that's another tip we're going to fit right into about those plates.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the whole thing that Larry came to me, you're always... These little things, if you've got multiple cameras or you just got multiple stuff going on, of course I can't get it all the way off, go to Amazon.com, go do a search for this and buy you some extra ones of these. Because if you're like me, what happens is I leave it on the wrong dang camera and then I get to the shoot or whatever. I've got the tripod and no plates. And so what I do now is I have one of these in my glove compartment. I throw an extra one in my trunk. I have them already ready for me to forget them so that I will be ready when something happens. So these things you can get if you find some, you can find some great deals. There's some stuff out there for like
Under $10 a piece.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting these things to be $50-$60 per plate.
Yeah, we found online. We'll have some. I think we may. What I'll do, I'll tell you what. We've got some websites for some of this stuff. I'll put it over on my site, on my blog tomorrow. It'll be petecollins.com with some different references to this stuff over here. But we found some great deals on this. We found 2 for like $15. It's worth it to buy a set of 4 of these and then have them around, because nothing sucks more than wanting to use your tripod and you can't because of this little plate. And he's exactly right. You don't need to skimp on your ball heads and really on your tripods, because if you skimp on the front end, you'll end up buying 2 or 3 before you finally buy a quality piece of
Right, that's
photograph.
actually-
That's where you don't skimp on your tripod.
That's actually the tripod penalty fee,
Right.
which is a common thing. A lot of photographers already know this. The tripod penalty fee is the fee that you pay to buy your first tripod that stinks so bad that you end up having to go out and buy another tripod. So it's money that you never get back. It's the learner's fee for figuring out which kind of tripod you have. Now, the cool thing, and figuring out that you got to buy a good tripod. The cool thing about these Me Photo tripods that I like so much is how portable they are, that they fold up all the way like this, and then you can move the center shaft up and then fold them really small for travel. And one of the other cool things about these Me Photos is they do get small, and they are more affordable than you might expect for what you're getting, and still a good quality tripod.
Right. Yeah.
Not the only answer out there. This is kind of like one of those camera bag things. You got to try them out. You got to figure out what works best for you. And if I tell you what is my favorite tripod, I do like this, and I use it. I carry it all the time, and you'll see it show up in different reviews that I do. But if I told you this is the tripod to buy, I'd be lying. It's just you got to try them out. See which one works for you.
I definitely agree. Somebody asked, is that the one leg that screws off onto the monopod? No, this one earlier before is the middle part right here. I just took it out, unscrewed it, and I actually had to unscrew that right there and just pop that off.
Okay, I bet I know what they're talking about. The Me Photo tripod that I was just holding up, is that the one with the leg that screws off and becomes a monopod? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
So my Me Photo,
even better. It turns into a monopod.
yeah, my Me Photo
Nice.
tripod has a single removable leg that can become a monopod. So
Yeah,
that's
I really
super
like
helpful.
that. We had just a second before, J. Michael Hill said he'd wish he had known about the whole doing the leg thing, because he said that Unlevel Hills made his life hell on his shoot on Sunday, and he had to use way more sandbags than he wanted
Yeah.
to. Well, and here's another little trick for you. Go to yard sales, go to Walmart. Instead of carrying around a bunch of big old sandbags, get you some ankle weights. You know, a 10-pound ankle weight will look a lot better on one of these. You can just strap it around the middle there.
And they're so
Especially if-
much more portable.
They're more portable, and especially if you're doing weddings or whatever, they're not these big clunky sandbags. So that's another little tip I have. I use these all the time. I don't have to worry about sand. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So here's a little tip for you. Ankle weights, light stand, and you're good to go. Hey, we're going to take a break. I know where you were going.
Okay,
I'm cutting you
all
off.
right.
We're going to come right back after this break, and we're going to talk some more. Hope you're enjoying this. We'll be right back.
About sandbags.
Fuel. Written by top authors and trainers, Fuel Books offers friendly, straightforward instruction and innovative ideas to power your creativity. Fuel Books, designed to inspire you.
All right, we're back with the grid, and we are talking about gear and crap and all this good stuff.
And we're
Hopefully saving you money so that you can spend more money. We're saving you money over here so you can spend money over there, because that's half the fun.
The best place to spend money is on good glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great point. You know, for those people that are starting out, your tendency is to want to buy the best camera you can. You better to buy the best lens you can, because you're going to upgrade your cameras from year to year every so often. You're going to stick with your glass, and it's going to make such a difference.
Yeah.
Since I'm holding this up, I'm going to steal
Yeah,
it. Sorry.
hurry up.
The lens hoods. Why do you want to use lens hoods? First of all, it offers a little more protection, but it also allows for better saturation. It cuts out some of that light in there. You always want to use your lens hood if you can. The problem is I was always taking mine off to pack it in my bag or whatever, and I'd forget it. Well, I love these lens hoods from Mamiya, yeah. Somebody asked where my accent. I grew up in Georgia. My accent's from Georgia, so that's where I am, Stephanie. And it's just redneck. Sorry. But I love this. It packs up. I throw it in my bag, and it's always there on it. If I don't need it, I push it down, and I do like that. And if my toilet gets stuck, it's good to go.
Dude, that is awful.
It's
you can
awesome.
You can't say that about a Canon lens. That's crazy.
Oh, they're great
All
waterproof.
right, so let me real quick. I got to get this off my chest. So we were talking about sandbags, and we all use them. And it's a safe thing to do. You've got to sandbag your light stands, and especially if you have any kind of heavy weight light at all. And one of the things that I recommend is not using sand in your sandbags. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get pea gravel or some sort of gravel, some sort of something for the landscaping that isn't sand, because it is very easy for sand to leak out of those sandbags, and you don't want that in your studio. But if you've got...
You don't want it on your camera gear either. That's one of the worst things.
Yeah.
If you pour sand all over your camera gear, it just... Then you definitely need the lens pin.
and or something, a whole lot of other cleaning gear. But yeah, I always use pea gravel or some kind of river rock or something like that in those same sandbags. You also hear them sometimes called shot bags, and you can get shot from, I guess, a
Sporting
gun-
goods and
gun
all that good
store,
stuff.
yeah.
Yep. A couple of things, and I agree with you. Tent pegs and bungee cords are great for holding down
Yep.
tripods and light stands. I love, if I'm going somewhere grassy or whatever, I have a set of tent pegs in the trunk as well, because then you're not carrying these heavy sandbags. You just take some pegs and knock them in there. Somebody else uses cinder blocks. Idler Photo uses cinder blocks in Wyoming Wind, and he puts them over the light stand, puts the light stand through the center of the cinder block. That's enough.
good
You
idea.
got to definitely secure your stuff. We love the ball bungees. Speaking
Yep.
of bungee cords, these things you can get them Walmart, you can get anywhere. But if I go to a shoot and I don't have at least 4 or 5 of these in my
Sure.
bag, I feel naked, because there's so many times that I'm going to need these to attach to something.
Well, you can do stuff like you can take a speed light and attach it to a tree branch. You
Yep.
can do all kinds of things with
Daisy chain these to get around something better, ad hoc to stabilize your camera. That's the way to go. And also Velcro. I said earlier in my post on Google Plus and Facebook, either you buy it, you make it, or you steal it. I stole these from Brad Moore. And if you know Brad Moore, he's Scott's assistant. He is the guru of stuff. And if he buys these in bulk, you know that it's important for photography. Having these little Velcro strips, hook on one side, loop on the other.
those. Here's the other thing you need: zip
Yes,
ties.
cable ties, zip ties. These things, you wouldn't believe how many times these have rescued us taking pictures. Just because you need to attach something, you need to secure something. These, and then gaffer tape.
Wait, I got one more too.
Oh,
These, I've started to see these showing up in sporting goods stores.
that's
I see
cool.
those in Sports Authority, but also in hardware stores.
we're going for the win.
And all they are, they're kind of grippy rubber.
I'm Charlie
coated-
Brown.
Stop it. They're grippy, rubber-coated kind of twisty ties, but they're super reusable. They make them in multiple sizes, and so something like this you can wrap around a lot of stuff. And then I
stealing
have
that.
smaller ones for cables and stuff like that. So it's just one more thing.
Gaffer tape. Check it out, B&H Photo. People ask, what's the difference between gaffer tape and like duct tape? Gaffer tape doesn't leave the sticky residue, so you can use it over and over again. You wrap stuff up. We'll do things like my old lens hoods would pop off, so I'd gaffer tape them to my lens, and then I wouldn't be afraid of leaving that residue on them. Gaffer tape is expensive, but you will sing my praises if you've never bought gaffer tape. Go buy your roll and keep it in your bag.
It's not duct tape. I
No.
mean, it may look like it. It may look like kind of a dull surface duct tape, and that is duct tape. But it might look like a matte surface duct tape, but it is much more than that. The adhesive is really key. It's strong enough to really hold things together, but it does release completely. And even over time, I mean, you might leave. I have stuff
I could
that's been
leave that
taped
there
up.
for a year
Yep.
and then come back and just peel it right off. It'll hold it until you want it.
And you
then
don't
let
have
it go.
to. You don't have to get rid of that. You get that goo gone stuff and stuff like that. So this tape, the reason that I actually have orange duct tape, we have tons of gear around here. He has stuff. I have stuff. Matt, Scott, Brad, we all have gear around here. And if I'm going to have a light stand or one of my tripods or something of mine here for a day or two, I do one.
Somebody will steal it.
Well, it's not even on purpose. You know, we all
We
have
can't
so
be
much
trusted.
stuff. We all have so much stuff that looks alike. And one of the things that I do to make sure I get my gear back is I put an orange piece of tape on light stands and on my tripods and things like that. And that kind of identifies it. I can go through the studio here and see 30 tripods and spot mine in a crowd. So it's kind of a cool way to keep track of things. And I also use the orange ones of these on my gear to identify my gear as well.
And that's why the black gaffer tape comes in real handy, because you can cover over this if you apply the gaffer tape correctly, and he'll never know that it's gone. Here's another little DIY for you here. You can go to Lowe's and other places, like you can get a set of 4 of these, and they're little clamp, little lock clamps. But what I've simply done is taken a 1/4, here we go, we got to go for 1 here, is I've simply taken, waiting for the up close, is he getting focused?
Yeah,
there
you
it goes.
go.
I've taken a 1/4 20 screw and I've put it in through this little hole right here and attached it right there. And the reason why I do that is now I can take my flash, and I've got a cold shoe attachment. These are another great thing to buy, is
Yep.
just a bunch of these cold shoe attachments that I then can simply take my flash, put it on here, and now I've got a cheap, inexpensive clamp that I can clamp on anything, lock it down, and it's going to stay right there on a door or whatever. I've used these at gymnasiums shooting my kids' basketball game. They'll have a conduit pipe running up the wall, and I'll just attach it to that, and now I've got a simple way to put my flash where I need it to, and it's out of the way. But I can get 4 of these for like $15, and all it takes is a little screw on it to make it good to go. Juan, I showed this to him the other day, and he liked it. You liked that, didn't you, Juan? Yeah, that was good. We get a thumbs up from Juan. All right, what you got?
I have kind of a 3-in-1.
Ooh, I like this.
This is something that I learned from David Hobby.
We steal everything from David Hobby.
Yeah, he's a sharp guy. And so shout out to David Hobby. He came down a few years ago and I was talking to him, and he has all these really cool ways to be a photographer and get to places without looking like you're out of place. And let me tell you what I mean. If you're walking down the side of an interstate and a state trooper sees you walking down the side of an interstate, they might stop and go, what the heck is going on here? But there are a couple things. First of all, David Hobby says, if you're going to be a photographer and go to places where people might question what it is that you're doing, the best thing to own or drive is a plain white pickup truck. So that's number one. It's a little expensive to go out of your way to do that.
Depends
but-
on your commitment.
Yeah, but if you want to. Okay, so this goes with the plain white pickup truck. Now, this is a clipboard. If you're walking somewhere and you've got a camera and a clipboard, and I don't have it with me, but a hard hat, this really sets the scene, because you can be walking all over the place, but if you got the hard hat, wait, it gets better.
I know what's coming.
So inside,
He told me this today, and I'm like, dang it, that makes so much
this
sense.
I just pulled it out of my
You
car.
just-
I didn't even have to plan this. I took this out of my car because it sits in my car. So obviously I have some extra model releases, but that's not the best part. I have
This is genius.
safety vest. So you put on the safety vest, you put on the hat, you carry the clipboard. Now you can take your camera and go anywhere. You can go out on bridges, and everybody goes, oh, he's got a clipboard, it's okay. It's the clipboard hard hat thing.
If you get run over or arrested, do not blame us.
This
We
was
put a little
us.
caveat, and we are not responsible. Kelby One is not responsible for what you do with that. Use it for good.
Okay, now here's the bonus. David Hobby also had this suggestion. He said, you need to buy some safety cones, those parking traffic safety cones, and carry 3 or 4 or 5 in your car at all times. So let's say you've got a photo shoot at the air show tomorrow, and it is a bear getting parking, right? What you do is you go today, and you figure out where you want to park. And you put out 4 orange cones. And if you got a little bit of yellow tape, put a little yellow tape around there. And the way David Javi explains it, he goes, nobody questions the authority of the cone. And so you just put out cones. Then when you show up, you pick up the cones, you park where you're going to park. And even if you want to, you just leave the cones on the corners of where you park because it doesn't say who gets to park there or who doesn't. Very cool, very clever.
I love that. I'm buying
you can tell
cones
he's been doing it
today.
for years. Hey, they even make collapsible cones.
For your hood, and they can convert into a Hoodman loop for really big monitors, so you can look at your LCD. A couple questions here. Or one of the comment: used gaffer tape to hold a star filter on a lens that was too big for the other day. Yeah, just put it right on the front, held it in there. Larry, I tape a tiny. Oh, by the way, that was M.N. Tony who said that. Jock from Hawaii. Larry, I tape a tiny address label to every piece of equipment like lens caps. You get 100 for cheap, and they're about 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. Put clear packing tape over it.
That's
so
a good
it's got
idea.
it's got all his information right there on it. Yeah, that's a great idea. And then finally, it looks like I sent this to myself because the question is by Pete. I got a $100 gift card for Sammy's. And what's best spent on or put towards? That's a good question. You got
Yeah, it's
$100 for to spend.
At Sammy's. I would. It's a gift card. Send it to Pete.
Yeah, it's got my name on it anyway. Just send it right to me. What I would probably do is I would look at your stuff, and if it's $100, you don't want to save it. You want to get the best out of it. I would think about little stuff that we've talked about, like gaffer tape and these other things, because suddenly you'll get a box from Sammy's that'll be like Christmas.
Yeah.
And, that's part of the fun of being able to
I
tear
don't
open a
know.
box.
I think a Hoodman loop is pretty high on the list, so
Yeah,
maybe a
that's good.
Hoodman loop and a roll of gaff tape.
Yep.
I'd be happy.
I would be happy too. It takes so little these days. As opposed to the sides of bridges. Really, you can't do that? I don't know what that. Yeah, Jim Kearns. Yeah. Yes, no, maybe. That's my answer for that. We've got a new person. Adam's doing a great job over there with the comments. Adam, you're awesome. He's trying to figure out how to type right now, so sorry. Hey, a couple quick things. We're going to go to a break in just a minute, but talking about batteries. And first of all, I love buying, you can get these, you can get about 4 or 5 of these for $2 on eBay or wherever.
Those
and they're
little
just
cases.
little cases for your batteries. And what I do before I go to a shoot is I put all my batteries in there, set up like this. And then when I'm done, I can chunk them in my bag, or when I start out, I'll put all of them facing one direction, and
Great
that way,
idea.
as I throw them back in the thing, if any of them, I open it up and any of them are opposite, I know they've been used before. But this will really help you to keep your batteries, because they tend to like to work together, the same group that's been through the same stuff. So I tend to, don't look at me like that. So I tend to try to keep them organized at the front end, because usually by the end of the shoot or whatever, they're just a whole pile of them in my bag. But then we had this discussion today.
Right.
We love Inteloops, but I have been slowly swayed over to the Power X.
My favorite.
Yeah. So I was really a big proponent of Inteloops.
They're good.
And they're great batteries. But if we were going to say what's our favorite nowadays,
Yeah,
the
it's Power X. Joe McNally loves the Power X. I love them.
And if Joe McNally gives his seal of approval, you don't even need to argue.
Yeah.
Just boom.
That's it.
Okay, the lens hood, to answer this question while he's getting set up, is the Mamiya. Here, let me just pull it up. I got it right here.
Yeah, you go look at that.
Yeah, you tell-
This is the other thing that I would recommend picking up. These are $6 or $7. If you've got one of those battery stores in your town, you can find something like this. And what you can do, it's super easy. And you just take your battery, put it on there, and it tells you how much of a charge. That one's got right there, full charge. So check all your batteries, really quick and easy, $6 or $7. It's even got a 9-volt tester, although nobody ever uses 9 volts a whole lot anymore. But it'll work for your 1.5 AA's, AAA's, things like that. Works
Yeah,
pretty well.
that'll save you a lot of headache if you're not sure, especially what happens is you charge a bunch, but then you have a bunch of them that all look the same, and you're like, crap, which ones did I charge, which ones didn't I? That'll save you. If you look on my screen, here is the loop. The name of it is Mamiya
Mamiya.
And you've got different sizes. You want to check the filter size of the front of your lens to figure out which one's going to fit. This is a 77 millimeter, and that's what that is. Runs you about $40. Definitely check it out. And if you got questions, customer service at different places should be able to help you. This is from B&H, the fine folks at B&H, one of our proud sponsors.
Yeah, those are a great investment. I like those lens hoods. All right, are we cutting to break, or do you want to see?
Yeah,
one
let's
more?
go to a quick break. We'll come back and you take it from there.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Get the world's best photography, lighting, and Photoshop training at Photoshop World. Here's the top 10 reasons you should attend. It's 3 non-stop days of real-world training where you can get personal attention and unlimited access to the world's top instructors in Photoshop and photography. When you attend, you'll have chances to experience hands-on live shoots and workshops, outrageous after-hours parties and events, and hundreds of classes for all skill levels, along with dozens of opportunities to network with other attendees. In-depth one-on-one portfolio reviews from industry professionals and see new cutting-edge technology. Plus, you can even earn continuing education and graduate-level credits from attending. This is the must-attend conference for photographers and Photoshop users. Use the promo code to get an extra $50 off. Photoshop World, the world's best Photoshop and photography conference.
All right, guys, we're back. We're piling up stuff. We're going to try to go through kind of a speed round, talk about some more stuff that we've got, both products you can buy, products you can make. We're going to try to give you as much information as we can here.
Okay, we're done with batteries.
We're done with batteries. Batteries
Yeah.
are gone. Somebody asked, what do you think about the Antelope XX? I don't know. I
haven't used the
I haven't
Antelope
used
Double
them.
X. What I like about the Power X, they're 2,700 milliamp hours, and they actually hold a charge longer when they're idle. So when you're not even using them, and then also, and this is actually kind of an important thing, when you charge a rechargeable battery, some of the off brands will swell, and they'll potentially break your device or maybe not fit back in when you're charging them. But imagine using a speed light a lot. It's really tight in there. You use the
Heats
speed
up.
light a lot, it heats up, and it'll crack your speed light just from having those.
Even if it doesn't crack your speed light, it gets lodged in there and you can't get the battery out, so you can't use that speed light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad things. So use good brand batteries. Antelopes we like. Power X we like best.
Yep.
Okay, you ready
Now-
for speed round?
Yeah, speed round. Go ahead. You said you were going to. Oh, I got you with war.
okay,
Okay, real quick. No,
go.
I'm stealing it.
Yep, do it.
One of the best investments that I always have in the car is knee pads, because we talk about as photographers getting an angle in a shot that other people aren't used to seeing. We're all used to taking pictures at normal height level. Getting down knee level, just getting down on your knees, can give you a different perspective that may make the shot even better, especially if you're shooting sports. If I'm shooting a football game or whatever, I'm on my knees shooting everything, and these things will save your life.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of knee pads too. So if you're in, let's say you're a wedding photographer and you want to put knee pads on so you can get down and take your pictures low.
Get down, get funky.
You can get really slim knee pads that are just a pad. They're not like the big heavy-duty construction ones or sports ones like you have, but the real thin ones, and they'll actually go under a pair of slacks, and you almost don't even see them unless you know what to look for, and you don't think, hey, that photographer's wearing knee pads under his slacks. You just don't think about that.
Especially if you're trying to shoot a dance floor or whatever, and you're constantly getting down, those will save your knees,
I
especially
get it.
as you get
You're
older.
getting down on
Thank
the
you,
dance
thank
floor.
you.
Good, thank you. Okay, I love a police tactical flashlight. These, okay, you remember years back, they used to have those big spotlight, floodlight kind of things that you could charge and use them in your car. So, like that one. Okay, well, I have some like that. I have one like that. But this is actually a police tactical flashlight that's brighter. It doesn't matter what brand, there's a bunch of brands. This particular one is an Olight, and even Olight makes 6 or 7 different models. I really like this because it is super, super bright. It's got 3 brightness levels. It goes up to 320 lumens. So it's a super bright light. It has a 320 lumen setting, a 220 lumen setting, and a 5 lumen setting. You go, why 5 lumens? Well, that's great if you're set up at night and you're working on night shooting and you work with the 5 lumen setting around your camera to look at your camera, get all your settings locked in, get everything that you're working on, and then you want to do light painting and you turn on this thing and it is absolutely amazingly bright. And it's also a self-defense weapon, so if you're
Yes.
taking pictures in the wrong places.
Tactical front to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the great thing about the 5 lumens is it doesn't mess with your night vision as
Right.
much as everything else, and doesn't disturb things. I love that flashlight. I've been meaning to steal it for a while, but I haven't done it yet. Okay, spider holsters. Whoops, that's just the front. We
Love
both
this stuff.
argued who was going to get to talk about the spider holster. You can see it attached to the bottom of this. You put it on there. I don't go anywhere without my spider holster because it just saves my back and
Yeah.
allows me to carry this around and go truly hands-free. I'm not going to model it right now. You can go over to spiderholster.com and check it out over there. I'm actually, whenever we go to Photoshop World, I stand by their booth and just sell these left and right because I'm such a proponent of them. They're so good. When you work with a normal strap or whatever, even though it's secure, you tend to have one hand on it all the time.
Right.
Well, that thing locks in, and I can go truly hands-free and walk around. I've
Yeah,
shot
and you can wear them on
weddings.
both sides.
I've got the double attachment, or what I'll do is I'll take the Velcro. I've done double attachment and added these extra little. I bought these a long time ago, but I use these, the cheap Think Tank. I love Think Tank, and when these wear out, I'm buying some Think Tank gear next, but these have served me so well. I keep my snacks and stuff in there when I don't have lenses, but I just put those around my belt. It's like a goober Batman, but I have all those extra lenses around there, and they've made the new one. This one makes me really excited. This one holds the 70 to 200
That's
with
an
the lens
awesome
hood
pouch.
in there, so that you can then switch it around. Because the problem is, all the other lenses do pretty well, but this one fights you, and I've actually dropped it because it's popped out of my other bags or whatever, but they've come out with this great bag that goes
Spider
on your belt.
Holster has.
Spider Holster has, that will hold the whole 7200 right in there. I can't say enough about this. I'm an ambassador of this, and they don't do anything. I just said, I love this thing so much, I think you should try it out. So if you go to Photoshop World this time, go check out the spider holsters. You'll be a believer.
Okay, now
Everybody who
while
has-
we're talking about that, hold up your camera so they can see the bottom, what a quote unquote normal spider holster setup looks like. So this is the normal plate mount for spider holster, and then it's something like this,
It even comes with its own Allen wrench set.
right? So it's something like this that actually kind of clips into it, right? Okay.
And the great thing is, it can't just pop out. You have to rotate your camera 90 degrees to get it to come out, or you have to lock it in there. But so you're walking around, it's going to hang like that. It can't even come out. People can't steal it. You got to rotate it to get it out. It's ingenious.
Yeah, really clever stuff. I love this particular one because this one I wear on a heavy belt that I carry. But then this is fairly new for them. And you and I were talking about the Arca Swiss plates, and all my cameras always have the Arca Swiss plate on them. So rather than having the spider holster plate on there, I have the Arca Swiss plate because I'm always ready to use a tripod. But now I can do, it's actually this way, this setup. And so I've got the ability to have spider holster right away, and it's actually attached to my Arca Swiss plate, so I'm ready for the tripod or I'm ready for the spider holster.
Well, and it even works with the Really Right Stuff L brackets. If you're in
Yeah.
the landscape photography, whatever, my old camera had the L bracket on it, and it could attach to either way, and it's just fabulous. So definitely check out Spider Holster. It's worth it. Speaking of another thing, does not look great. You know, every bag should have some of that right there. But what this is cinefoil. And it's just heavy duty, almost like heavy duty aluminum foil, and it's got black coating to it.
It's a matte black.
Matte black. And what you can do is with this foil, you can see I've got some gaffer tape on it, but you can use this to create snoots, grids, all kinds of stuff. Flags to help with your photography. And the video department uses it all the time, and I stole this from video department. But you can, crinkle it up and make all kinds of shapes and do whatever you want. And it's a really awesome, in a pinch, use it for whatever you need kind of gear that is not real expensive. You can go find it at B&H and other places. Cinefoil. Like, here you go, I've got it on. I pull it up right there. And that's for a big old roll of it. And you can use it over and over again if you're cheap like me.
Okay, while we're on a similar topic, so let me show you two things that I picked up from FedEx Office. You can get reports bound at FedEx Office with, that frosted kind of marbleized cover. And this material, you can see, is transparent, almost completely transparent. It's a little frosted, okay? So you can make all kinds of light modifiers out of this. You can cut a piece and bend it and Velcro it to the face of your speed lights. You can do a lot of light modifiers with this. This material, you walk in there and say, I just want that. I don't need any. I don't need any binding services. I just need this stuff. And they go, I don't know how much that is. Well, I bought it for 50 cents a sheet at the last store, and then they go, oh, 50 cents a sheet. Okay, I'll get it. And then you buy 5 or 10 sheets at FedEx Office, but you have to tell them that they have this stuff. The other thing that I bought at FedEx Office is a black version of the same thing. And again, you can fold it. You can use it for creating flags. It's got a dull side to it, so you probably want to use that when you're
Kind of
creating
like
something.
you.
Like me.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And then one other thing, you can get this in giant sheets. If you go to Hobby Lobby into the cloth department, you can get really big. They're like a square yard, and they're used for making patterns. I don't know if I don't make quilts very often, but you can use it for making patterns, and you can get a big chunk of this stuff to create different kinds of frosted diffusers.
Similar thing, this is a drawer liner, same type of deal right here. If you can see through it, maybe if we get a little extra. It's got this frosted, little bit of texture to it, but you can see if you're a do-it-yourselfer, this drawer liner, I got this, I think I got it at Lowe's or maybe Walmart, I can't remember. But it's a plastic that's gonna be pretty durable, but you can use this to make all kinds of diffusers. And that's what we'd like to have fun with, is figure out how we can make stuff. Another thing, if you've got like a sporting goods store, some of them I found in Alabama when I lived there. I went to Academy Sports and they had these sheets that are cutting sheets. And the same type of thing. They're a little more heavier duty, but they made great front surfaces for diffusers.
Oh, like a chopping surface.
Chopping surface, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were just little sheets of paper, but plastic. These just give you some ideas of what you can do if you find. We're always looking for that great diffuser material to make the next great diffuser. So that's another thought for you there. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I love this. I used to shoot a good number of weddings, and I came across this, and the name of the company is golfumbrella.com, and I've got it here. And you want to go to, this is view number 21, if you go there and search around. But if you look right here in the middle, classic wedding design, 16-panel umbrellas, sale price $8.95. And I bought a bunch of these in different colors, so when I'd shoot a wedding, and if it was rainy, or if it was too bright or whatever, these have the 16, you can see this one's got some nice junk on the side over there. I pulled this out of my car, so literally I've used this a lot. But it's 16 panels, so it looks a little nicer. And then these are great to hand the bride and the groom when they're walking in the rain or whatever, and it gives you that nice, soft lighting around them. It's like a nice little soft box to them, and they're only $8.95, so I'll order a bunch of them and try to match the color of the bridal party. And they'll love it. You could give it to them as a gift if you want to at the end or whatever, but it gives you something extra that you can do with your wedding party, and you're always prepared if the weather turns bad. $8.95, golfumbrella.com. This is one of those super deals that I found that just made me happy.
Yeah, and while they don't have a mount to actually go on a light stand, I would imagine that something like that you could use as a shoot-through umbrella if you just jury rig it right.
Oh yeah, we could work something into that. Between me and you, we could knock that out.
Now, you're talking about sporting goods stores. You can go to any sporting goods store and find camping mats. They're typically $10. They roll up. They're for use underneath your sleeping bag when you go out camping. And it is great material for lining bags. You don't have to get the official, quote unquote official, bag liners. And one of the things that I did, I spent about $45 at a sporting goods store, and I bought a hard case for shipping golf bags. And it was right after the golfing season, and I went over to a sporting goods place and I picked up a golf bag for $40, and then I lined it with this sleeping bag material. And I know it's too big to bring on set here, but for $45, $50, I've got
a hard case.
I've got a hard case with wheels that locks shut, and I can ship it, and I can put tons of gear into there, tripods, light stands, just umbrellas, just all kinds of stuff, all into a hard case.
And they'll look at it as if it's golf stuff, and they'll just fling it along, not think anything of it. And it's a great idea. I've got actually a padded one of those that somebody won at a conference I was at and couldn't take it home because they were on a flight, and so they gave it to me, so I got it for free.
That's awesome.
But yeah, all my light stands go in that, and I just wheel it around. Speaking of wheeling it around, boy, this is going to be a little hard, but I love this. This one is a rolling cart that's also a ladder. If you see right here, sorry, Larry, if I pop you in the face
all
with this.
good.
But you can see how it's a cart that you can put all your gear on, because eventually you get all this stuff. You got a bunch of gear. You got a bunch of crap. You can put it on here and wheel it around like a regular dolly.
But why a ladder? Why do you want...
Because, Larry, wait, there's more. Once you get there and you've unloaded all your stuff and knocked down the sign, you're going to want to get, just like you want to get down low to get different angles, you also want to get up high to get different angles. You want to shoot over stuff. The ladder, so many times it has saved my bacon on a shoot.
Sure.
A wedding, even though there's a lot going on, sometimes you can get a different angle. If there's a big crowd out there dancing, get off in the corner, get up high and shoot with a long lens down into the crowd to get a different look that nobody else has got. I love this, and let's see, I found it, it's somewhere around here. Yeah, it's like, you just, if you do a search for it, there it is. This one's like $75.99. You can order it, and you're gonna love it if you get it, because it's gonna be able to carry your stuff, but also use it once you get there.
Well, you'll spend something like that for just a wheeled cart, and then to have the added benefit of it being a ladder, that's really a step up.
This is something that we can't do without right here.
These are awesome. It doesn't matter, and I hate to say it because I really like brand gear, certain brand gear. I love stuff like Westcott. When it comes to soft boxes, I love the Westcott Apollo soft boxes. They're umbrella frame soft boxes. I have one that I carry in my car all the time. I have 3 or 4 in my home studio. I have 2 in the office here. I love these Westcott things. But when it comes to this particular device, it's a 5-in-1 reflector. Doesn't matter what brand you get. They're all pretty darn close to the same. And I love this thing. Okay, clear? Okay, so this one's a 5-in-1 reflector, as are many. And there are different options for the 5-in-1, but this particular one is white on one side and gold on the other side. And then it's got a zipper here. And as you pull that back, you can see it's got a black face. It's got a silver face. And so you could turn that inside out and zip it back on. And then in the middle, a scrim. It's a diffuser. It's a diffusion
Which is
scrim.
actually what I use more than anything else.
Oh, don't take it all the way off.
Okay.
But one of the cool things is diffusion scrim, like Pete was just using the umbrella, you can use that as a real large diffuser. One of the other things, though, that I really like is this black surface, because a lot of people don't think about subtractive lighting. And a lot of times you can get in someplace on somebody's face, maybe they're really well lit because of all the reflected light in that particular environment, and then you can bring in something like this and take away the light instead of adding light or reflecting back gold or silver light or white. And it's just a nice way to work.
Well, and the nice thing is if you needed to in a pinch, you could take the cover off and use the scrim and this by holding it up with something else.
Sure.
You've actually got a boom arm over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was going to segue into that. But in a pinch, if you don't have this, let's say you go out of town and you forget this, whatever, just go to Walmart and buy some white foam core.
Sure.
We use that all the time because you just want to do a quick bounce reflector, and then you can leave it behind, give it to some kid for a schoolwork.
Office supply stores.
Office supply store. Works great.
Yeah, you do have to get used to how to fold these up. So you just kind of...
Grab each side and twist in the middle. It takes a little art to do it. I showed this earlier. This, if you've watched on Kelby One, if you've watched Dave Black's light painting classes, which are awesome, this is the light he uses. I actually watched it and said, well, shoot, I'm going to go out and check that out, go to Walmart, and it's like $25. I've got it on here somewhere, but it's literally, you go to Walmart and it's something like $25, and if you find the right group, it actually comes with some plastic covers for red, yellow, and blue light on the front, or maybe green. But these are great for doing light painting on bigger things. I've painted a cabin on a lake and stuff like that. Check it out. It's called the Brinkmann Q-Beam. And if you go to Walmart, I thought I was going to have to order it, and I walked into Walmart, and it's sitting right there. Love this thing for light painting.
That's a great way to go. One of the things that I wanted to show, actually I have two that I'll show real quick. This is the first professional tripod I bought. I had a couple of the cheap, crappy ones from big box stores that I hate. I love this tripod. It is not lightweight. This is just the tripod legs. This is a Manfrotto Neotech tripod, and I think we've got a web link for that. The reason that I really like this, and I don't know, I'm going to try to stand up and show you guys why this is so cool. The Neotech tripod deploys faster than any other tripod I've ever seen. You know how a lot of them have the clips or you have to do all that different stuff? I'm going to put out this leg to full length. It's ready. So imagine doing that. I did it, do it 3 times. You're good to go. So set up the tripod and you're good to go. I went on a photo shoot with Matt and Scott in the Bahamas, and we were racing in a rented van. We were racing to catch the sunset, and we were going to this bay, and there was this beautiful lighthouse, and the sun was setting right there, and we're racing there. The van pulls up. We all jump out with our tripods, run up to the beachfront, set up. Now, I pulled out all 3 legs, and I'm snapping pictures, and there was a cargo ship that was backing up at that exact moment. And so Scott and Matt are both undoing traditional clip legs on their tripods.
We all know the routine.
And I was clicking the shutter. Now, my pictures kind of sucked, but I got them. I got pictures when Scott and Matt didn't. And I would say that would probably be the only time that I ever did something with photography better than those guys, but just because of that particular tripod. They're not cheap. I think it's probably going to be around $350 for the set of legs, maybe $375, something like that. But I've had mine for years, and I still swear by them. And just as quick as it was to set up, I'll show you how quick it is to put them away.
Yeah, I like this.
You push all 3 buttons, you're good to go.
Yeah,
So,
that's
very, very
that's
cool.
nice. We're getting down to the end here. We're about out of time, but a couple more things. And I know we've talked about this before, but one of the things I always have in my car and usually have in my pocket if I'm wandering around is my Allo clips. That I attach to my iPhone, which I didn't even bring. I've got wide angle, I've got zoom. These things are awesome if you're going to be carrying around your phone and you may have forgotten your camera, or sometimes you just want to get that picture that you want to put up on Facebook or whatever.
Yep.
These things, I love having these. Or if your iPhone's your only camera, you can now start acting like you're really taking pictures with it because you've got some different things you can do. It's even got polarized lenses and macro lenses.
What's the ballpark on those for the Allo clip?
Yep,
I have
I'm pulling
one
it
in
up
my
right
car.
now. Here's the Allo clip page right here. And then we'll go to product. And they keep adding new lenses. That's the thing that's killing me. I keep wanting more and more. It's like Christmas every time I show up over there. Now they've got a 4-in-1 lens system. Fisheye, wide angle, macro. You'd have to go check it out. They're worth it. The glass, the lenses on here are phenomenal. We all swear by it. I stole mine from RC as it normally goes.
And those are so precisely fitting.
Yeah.
That one of the things that I noticed, I used to have a screen cover on my iPhone, and as soon as I put that on, it peeled the screen cover at the corner. I would rather have the Allo clip option than have a screen cover on my iPhone. So I just got rid of the screen cover.
Well, and they even make cases now that work with this, and
Sure.
it's pretty ingenious how it works, that it can hit that trigger button up there to take the picture. Check out AlloClip. It's alloclip.com for that. And then one real last little bit here is, here's some of my DIY stuff. One of the things that I love is I bought several of these little Giotto mini ball heads. Let's see if they can get in there. And it's actually got a little plastic screw attachment nut up here that goes on here, but of course I lost that somewhere.
That part's metal though.
Yeah, this starts metal up here. All this is metal. It's got a little thumb screw on here. But what I love to do is whatever I've made or cobbled together, whatever, I can then put this on here and I automatically have full adjustability of the angle of stuff. This was an old multi-flash bracket that I made out of simple aluminum stock from Lowe's that I just drilled 3 holes in it, and then just put my cold shoes on there, and I bent this little bar right here that I can actually put an umbrella through here, and the rubber band attached to the umbrella will hold it together there, and now I've got 2 flashes shoot through umbrella.
You are my kind of nerd.
So anyway, that's I think I posted that a while back on my blog, so PeteCollins.com. You can check a little bit more about that out there, but why don't you take us home? What you got?
I have 2 quick ones. One of them is an addition to an existing flash. So, for example, we were talking about the Yongnuo. Well, they have a built-in PC sync port, and they also have optical slave. But some flashes, and in fact, I have 3 flashes that are good quality flashes, but they don't have any slave capability. They don't have the PC cable in, so you can't flash sync with a cable. And they also don't have an optical slave, so they can't be optically triggered off camera. And so what I bought, and you get these per flash unit. So they're custom designed specifically for your flash unit. So you can see this is actually a hot shoe. It's not a cold shoe, it's a hot shoe. It's got that connector there. And you put your flash on it, and it adds, it's not actually designed for this flash, but it adds the PC sync port. So you can actually add cable triggering to a flash that isn't really built for that. The other thing though that you can add is one of these. And this is an optical trigger, so this little setup will make my speed lights that don't have either the plug-in or the optical slave capability into an optical slave speed light.
Right,
Very
so
cool way
this
to go.
one has the plug-in for the cables, but
Sure.
it doesn't have optical. So if you ordered the right one from Flash Zebra, or you could just do that
Yep.
by itself, you just put that right in there, and now it's going to become its own optical slave right there with that. We love Flash Zebra. I
Yeah,
spend some good time over there.
Yeah, and Flash Zebra is really inexpensive, very reliable. I've had great customer service with them. They do not pay me to say that, and I bought everything I've ever gotten from them, and they haven't given me anything. One other thing, you were talking about Rogue flash modifiers, and this is the thing that I'm going to actually add to the kit. I have one of these of my own, but this one is new and unopened. And what's nice about this is you can make it a reflector, so you can Velcro it onto your speed light and make it into a bounce card, or you can make it into I guess a snoot.
A snoot, you can bend it around to get it kind of to shape it to the kind of light you want.
Right,
and
now-
there it is, Expo Imaging Rogue.
Yeah,
And
now this is
an extra
actually
large.
in there, right? This is in there?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll give these away separate.
Are you saying, is that in there?
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's a kit, and this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
standalone
Oh, this
flash
one's got
bender.
the kit. So this has the Flash Bender XL Pro. You know, I should have paid attention beforehand here. We got the white reflector. We've got the strip box diffuser, the Pro Soft Box diffuser, and the silver black reflector attachment. So that's got all that in there. So that's more than this. Mine
Right.
is much better than yours.
Oh, absolutely.
Way better than
Usually that's the way it works out. But we'll give both of these away, each to a different person.
Okay. And how are they going to do that, Larry?
I don't know. They're going to call Pete's house. It's area code 813.
We're just going to give it to Mike and save it. We got Mike visiting again over here. We're just going to give it to him, save on the post office P.O. box. But what you're going to want to do is you want to go to kelby1.com/contest. And when you go over there, you're going to fill out the entry form, do all that good stuff, make sure you put in the grid, and you can figure out figure out the West. I'm Bubba Walters. And you can say you want, obviously you probably want to say, hey, I want the kit, but you could also put a comment, I'll take Larry's cheaper, lesser gift over there, but otherwise. Well, that's about all we got, Larry. This is something that was near and dear to us, and we tried to get as much in here as possible, but we hope that helped you just start thinking about some ways that you could adapt stuff, add stuff, and help you with your photography.
You know, I want to see you guys come out to Photoshop World and show us your gear and talk to us about the kind of stuff that you're looking for and that kind of thing.
That's scary.
We have
That's
such a
scary to
blast
think about.
at Photoshop World, and what a kick.
I made a beauty dish out of a trash can.
A buddy of mine was talking about, I can't get my boss to let me go to Photoshop World. And I said, here's what you got to do. Because we always have these photo booths set up. They're pre-lit. We've got paid models. The sets are already there. The models are there. The lights are there. You just walk up with your camera and you're taking these amazing shots. Now, it might be slightly unethical to put that in your portfolio, but
We've talked about that before. You know who you are.
It's not unethical if you say to your boss, I'm going to go learn some cool photography and Photoshop techniques, and then you go there and you take those pictures and you come back with those pictures and say, boss, look what I did while I was there. And your boss will go, that is amazing photography. Great stuff. We're going to send you back again. So
now the key is to learn how they lighted and did all that stuff, which you can learn at Photoshop World.
Yeah,
Because
well,
you don't
they
want to say,
actually-
look what I did, and then he goes, great, we've got a photo shoot for you next week, and you're like,
right. Well, okay, so we've got these booths set up, and I say we. Westcott, actually
Yeah,
on our
Westcott
trade show
does a great
floor,
job.
has that set up, and they actually have training associated with it. So you can just walk up, but they'll also talk to you about how they did it.
well, we're wrapping it up.
Yep.
Larry, thanks so much. Where can people find out more about you?
Well, I've got stuff at Larry's Cheap Shots. I've got reviews all over the place on the B&H YouTube channel. So go to Larry's Cheap Shots.
Nice. Yeah, it fits right in with this. You can check me out. If you're on a Kelby One member, which you should be, make sure you go over to the member site, the community site. I'm doing a Photoshop challenge every week. Every Monday, there's a new challenge over there that you can come over there and play with Photoshop and do image composites over there. Check that out. You can also find me at PeteCollins.com. I'll try to put together a list of some of the stuff we've put over here with websites that you can go check those out. That'll be up there tomorrow, so make sure you come back and check it out.
Very cool.
And we definitely want to thank our sponsors, B&H Photo, Peach Pit. We've got just great crews that do some awesome stuff for us, and we want to say thank you for that. We will check you here next time. Should be Scott and Matt back here. But for this week, thank you so much for staying with us, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.